fade in music, ready to fade in 4, fade in music, fade in 4. Ready to keep on 1, keep on 1. Ready to thunder, ready to keep host 1. Keep thunder, keep host 1. Ready
Seton
to
Hall
lose
presents.
key, lose key.
Advance font.
Ready to dissolve to 5, dissolve to 5. Ready to key font 2, key font 2.
Teach with
Ready to
television.
lose key and dissolve to 2. Lose key and dissolve to 2.
Advance font.
Ready to fade out music, cue host 1. Fade out music and cue host 1.
Welcome to
Ready
Teach
to
with
take one.
Television. I'm Nick Mestarzo.
Take 1. Ready to take
I'm
2.
Sam Rizagazzi. Today we begin a series of 10-minute programs on the various roles that media plays in our lives.
Take 2.
Zoom in, zoom in.
Television has a tremendous influence on our everyday
Ready
lives.
to take 3.
While today's consumers have more options than ever in which to receive media, television remains a dominant form, as recent studies show that the average American child under 11 spends 4 hours a day in front of the set. As an adult, that increases to 5 hours a day. Television can have a big impact on how we view the world and interact with each other. But is it really the best way to obtain our information?
And tilt down just a little. Thank you.
It's amazing that despite the preponderance of the television viewing by the
Ready
American
on
public,
3.
only a minority of schools use TV for teaching, and many have theorized that the larger part of learning today takes place outside of school.
Take 3. Ready
Perhaps
to take
part
1.
of the reason TV is not used more in the
One,
classroom
you match
is
3
that schools
shots
have
and out a little
adapted
bit, please.
new computer technologies,
And tilt down.
with some seeing the internet as the new device for conveying information and influencing thought and opinion.
Take 1.
This is not to say that
Ready
television
to
is
fade in
irrelevant.
music.
Television is still an important part of our day-to-day lives. This series
Fade in
will
music,
reveal
ready
the
to
ways
dissolve
that
to
television
5.
can be a service
Ready to
learning
keep font 3.
process, including a reading of a book.
Dissolve to 5 and key font 3. Music, fade in music. Ready to lose key, ready to fade out music. Lose key, fade out music, ready to track silver, take silver and track audio, take silver and track audio. Ready to take 6 and fade in music.
Zoom hand left a little bit. Zoom in a little more.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to startle you. I know I really want to join PTV, and it's every Monday through Wednesday, 6 to 7 p.m. Can I still join?
Take 6 and fade in music. Ready to keep on 4, keep on 4. Ready to lose key. Key, ready to dissolve to 2. Post 1 and dissolve to 2 and post 1. And
Today's program will give an orientation to media.
ready to take
Our first
3.
question must be, what forms of media influence our lives?
Take 3.
Well,
Ready to
the
keep
answers
on
are
5,
obvious if we
keep
think
on
about
5,
what media we
ready
have
to
daily
lose key,
contact with. Television as well as many other media.
Advance font.
Ready
At
to
one
take
time,
1.
television was an expensive luxury that took the place of the older forms of information gathering. In schools, it could take the place of the conventional teacher by conveying visual messages and stories in a stimulating way that a teacher or book cannot. The best way to analyze the role of media in our lives is to think about the way we use it.
And take 1.
Each person has a different way
Ready
of
to
waking
keep
up
on
to
6,
morning's
keep on
events.
6.
We first learn of the
Ready
current
to
events in
lose
different
key,
ways.
lose
One may
key,
decide
ready
to
to
use
find
Fox
the box
Business
in
in
pants,
order to
find the
check
box
what
in
stocks are
pants.
up to date, or the latest
Ready to
business that have
cue
started to
host. Are you
boom.
ready to take
Fox
3?
Business delivers real-time information through cable networks that impact mainstream and Wall Street for businesses and entrepreneurs all around the world.
Take 3.
In addition to learning about current events throughout the day, an individual can gather information in many other ways. For example, through Google News.
Cut in
Users
box.
are provided with the latest news and biggest
Ready to
headlines
take
on a variety
1.
of topics and can have their experience personalized with a Google account.
Take 1. Ready to cut in
One of
box.
the advantages of using television in the classroom is that television can show students historic video images that will preserve the voice of the great public figures of stories of monumental moments for years, decades, or perhaps centuries.
And
Students can learn about John D.
cut in
Rockefeller,
box.
who was the world's
Ready to
first
fly out the
billionaire.
box in center. Fly out the box
One
in
can study
center.
his ways
Ready
of
to
making
take
money
silver.
and uses methods and knowledge in order to gain wealth and financial understanding.
Take silver.
Television can give
Ready
the
to
student an
take 2.
otherwise unavailable view of a vital instructional experience. An obvious example of this is the television operation in a medical or dental school, but it has applications at the primary and secondary levels as well.
Two's ready.
Take 2.
Television also can use
Ready
the
to
camera as a
dolly
way
in or
to
closer.
stimulate or control the way one feels. When the camera is far away, one feels distant and the viewer cannot help but want to look around the frame that surrounds the subject on camera. By dialing
Dolly
in
for
for
a
a close-up, one can achieve a feeling of
Ready to
importance
take
or
4.
intimacy. Television has a great ability to achieve subconscious
up a little
feelings
bit.
in a viewer that cannot be achieved in other media.
Take 4.
Finally, television can bring the
Ready,
outside
tilt
world
panda reveal.
into the classroom for analysis and discussion.
Tilt panda reveal.
While it is true that films, websites,
Ready,
and
take
digital
one.
audio have similar potential, their solitary experience does not impact the viewers the same way a shared viewing experience in the classroom can, where moderated discussion can provide deeper insight. This sense of shared connectivity has helped television become a staple of our American daily lifestyle.
And take one.
How has social
Ready,
media
take four.
impacted the way we intake news?
Take four.
Yes, social media has made it much easier to take in
Ready
news,
to take one.
and I feel like older generations are also, switching from older methods to social media. So it's really took over as far as the grand scheme of things.
Take one.
To the same effect, how has
Ready to take four.
social media played a part in the TV shows and movies that we watch?
Take four.
Yeah, social media has played
Ready
a
to
huge
take
part
one.
in the TV and movies that we watch. I feel like, it's great for exposure. It's great for bringing out movies and really bringing it to a newer audience.
Wrap up the ad lib after
Take
this.
one.
Finally, why has social media become a huge part of our lives?
And take four.
Yeah, social media is a huge part of everyone's lives.
Ready to take one.
So much so that it's actually become addicting. So,
Camera
I
three,
feel
tilt down
like,
a little bit.
Everyone uses social media.
And take
Actually
one.
tilt up a little more.
Thank you, Sam.
Ready to take
We
three.
look forward to seeing you back here in the studio.
And take three.
Here in our studio today is no one because our director failed
And ready to
to
take
get a
one.
guest, so I cannot practice my
Cue 'em on
skills.
three, please.
So therefore, I will be doing a reading of this book.
And take one.
Ordinarily, we think and speak
Ready
in
to
word
keep on seven.
word groups or phrases
on seven.
which function as grammatical and
Ready to
rhetorical
lose
units
E.
of meaning. To an extent, the
Lose
structure
E.
of the language itself
Advance
governs
font.
groupings. There are nevertheless innumerable ways of shaping a thought, and a writer's choice and
Advance
preference
font.
for certain word group arrangements create patterns which are elements of style. A grammatical phrase is a group of two or
Ready
more
to take
words without
three.
subject or predicate,
Take
which,
three.
though they serve as sense units, are
Ready to
incomplete or
take
fragmentary in the
One.
expression
Take one.
of thought.
Advance
Words in a
font.
phrase are variously arranged, but together they make an aggregate, as do these examples. Before the holiday hit on the head,
Three, get
his
into
car being
position
stolen, to
for
read a
big
book,
screen.
will have flunked
Just careful.
the study of history, a commanding stature, and so on.
Ready to take three.
Out of the
Comma,
phrase comes
E.
the sentence or word group between
Advance font.
end stops, or as it has been defined, an independent linguistic form not included by virtue of any grammatical
Hanover,
construction in
right,
any
three.
larger linguistic
Perfect,
form.
Right there.
Sentence structure varies from language to language. English, like most other Indo-European languages, uses a subject and predicate construction. In other words, reduced to its essence, a good English sentence is a statement in idiomatic word order that an agent, the subject of the sentence, performed an action, the verb upon something, the object. This construction provides the possibility of basic variations that create patterns varying from writer to writer and indeed from century to century. In some sentences, nouns and verbs greatly outnumber adjectives and adverbs, but in others the opposite is true. In some, phrases piled on phrase. In others, clause follows clause. Looking about hesitantly, the little boy, clad in blue jeans, came to the center of the stage,
Wrap
or
up
the
the reading.
little boy was clad in blue jeans. He looked about hesitantly, and then he came to the center of the stage. Whatever form is used, a successful sentence makes the writer's
Wrap up the
thought
reading.
clear and advances the reader's understanding. That's it. That's all for the reading of today. For the reading today, since we did not have a guest. As a conclusion to today's show, we should review the capabilities and limitations of the medium in the teaching context. First, what it cannot do.
Take three. Chroma.
It cannot provide in-person interaction. It cannot offer hands-on
Ready to take
instruction.
two.
It cannot allow for extensive give and take
Two's not ready.
in the application of abstract ideas.
Two's not ready yet. Two's not ready yet.
And take two.
Television might be
Take
Advanced
three.
font.
Chroma.
Television might be seen as quaint in our fast-paced world, but coupled with the internet, television has many advantages.
Take three. Chroma.
Television can
Ready
be
to
used
take
for
two.
teaching lectures and demonstrations, panel discussions, interviews,
Yeah, get
dramatizations, audio and visual devices, realia, and pupil participation with interactive systems.
Take 2.
As we have shown today,
Ready to
television
take
still has not
3.
realized its full
Show
potential
hands
from
moving
its
to follow.
inception. TV is
Ready
not
to
a
go.
dinosaur from the past. Working
Three,
with new
get 'em in the
technologies,
middle,
television
shot,
has the
please.
opportunity to be a
Zoom in just
vibrant,
a little.
vibrant force in our educational environment.
Take 3 and pan, tilt, and zoom to follow.
Next week, we will examine the
Ready
various
to
ways
fade
we
in
obtain
music. Oh,
news
sorry, ready
and
to
how
take 2?
technology affects the
Give
way
me a
we
wide shot,
understand
pulse
events
1 and 2.
happening around us.
And take 2.
Until then, this is Nick
Ready to
Masterzo.
fade in music.
I'm
and
Sam
dissolve
Rizagasi,
to 5.
wishing you a good day.
Fade in music and dissolve to 5. Ready to key font 8, post 2. Key font 8, post 2. 30
This has
seconds.
been Teach with Television.
Ready to key. Ready to dissolve to 4. Dissolve to 4. Ready to key font 9. Key font 9.
This program was produced by Seton Hall University and solely responsible for the content.
Ready. 10, 9, 8, 7. Ready to fade out
6,
picture and sound.
5, 4, 3,
Fade out picture.